All right, here we are, the Tony Jacobs Show, episode 1. A lot of the time I will ask myself why start the podcast. I have a wonderful guest today, who is Darren Casey. Darren is a majestic person. We have a big history together. And I think maybe I'll give you a little word of introduction coming from you, Darren. Can you introduce yourself?
My name's Darren Casey. I have known you. You want me to? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've known you for so long. We have worked together on a few projects. I've worked on a few projects, tried everything known to man. Been living in Cyprus for about 20 years. Enjoying life in Cyprus is quite nice. It's nice and relaxed, at least. Married, 3 kids.
Awesome. All the juicy details.
All the juicy details.
The reason why you have tried everything, as you say, is actually why I invited you to be my first guest on the Tony Jacobs Show. I want to just maybe start a little bit with my vision, why podcast, how I imagine the podcast to take place, and so on and so forth. So a lot of the time I see scripted podcasts where people, sort of prepare a bunch of questions they want to ask each other. And it normally doesn't look too natural. But in my eyes, this show at least, I want it to be something like relevant to a moment like when you enter a coffee shop and you see a lot of people sitting around on the little tables, talking, having private conversations. But sometimes you might be curious about what the hell are they actually talking about. It would be interesting to listen in on.
Always.
Here, I want to have a conversation with you, just an open conversation to sort of discuss whatever comes to our mind. Another reason I invited you first was because we indeed have a big history together. You said we had done a couple of projects. We did. It all started 14 years ago, actually. 14 years, I checked on Facebook when I first added you as a friend. And it was insane because it started in Soundscape Studios, where we are today, with Chris Cara. And I guess everybody's probably curious, what did we do back then? So it was the start of my rap career. It's funny to say it now because, of course, nowadays I don't continue making music, even though I'm still into it so much. But back then, now that we have a chance to sort of sit back and look back in the day from an eagle's eye perspective, it's interesting to sort of like discuss what motivated you to deal with this weird Russian kid that came in there with a polo and a army camouflage jacket. What was going on in your life for you to say, hey, you know what? This is a good idea for me to be invested in right now. And just to clarify for whoever doesn't know, Darren, you were my manager at that point. What can you say?
Honestly, I don't know. It was weird. So I've obviously been working with Chris for a little bit. I think we were working on Cyprus Has Talent or something with Eddie from 7 Seas. And I was spending loads of time with Chris and trying to figure out, because I really like the music side of things. I can't play, I can't sing, I can't do anything, but I quite liked to organize. I'm quite an organized person, so I wanted to get into the music industry somehow. Chris mentioned about managing and working with artists. He mentioned you, and you had like a massive drive for it, and you're really talented, and your songs, although I'm not into rap that much, I quite liked them. It wasn't like what's out nowadays. It was more like Eminem kind of style, which I really liked. So we obviously spoke about it, and I showed you what I could do, because I do quite a lot on social media, and I'll happily phone somebody and go for a meeting and try and arrange something. So I thought, why not? Let's give it a shot. I think you were the first person that I worked with, so it was kind of testing on both sides of the like the industry, seeing where we could fit you in, see where I could fit in. It was quite a good.
And that lasted for like what, 4 years, 5 years, right? That was quite a long time.
It was a nice experience. It was difficult at times, obviously.
It was always difficult, for sure. Until today, pleasant memories though, a lot of struggle, but I think we achieved a lot. And when I say a lot, I don't mean, platinum records or something like that. Cyprus is a very tiny island, right? With back then, for sure, many more limited opportunities than maybe today.
For sure, yeah.
And
definitely.
Back then, the vision for me was always sort of like global, really thinking ahead, even hoping in some naive way that I'm going to be among the top performers on the USA market eventually. But it was something I believed in. That's why I had that drive. And it's not like that drive died, but due to the circumstances in my own personal life, I sort of had to move away from that. Well, if you remember, actually, I moved away from Cyprus. And that was sort of like a deciding moment. I remember Chris, he said at one point, it sort of like imprinted in my head. He said, as soon as you start an office job, forget about all the creativity you had. And I wouldn't believe him. I said to myself, no way, I'm really creative. Lyrics are coming out of my heart and beats and all. Like I would just sit and create a beat within a day. But he was right. I started an office job when I moved away from Cyprus for some time, and creativity disappeared. Isn't that insane? I don't know what it is. Is it being at the desk, using too much of your brain energy or something?
Yeah.
Computer. But that's what happened. Since, what I want to do with the Tony Jacobs Show, just to sort of put you into context, I want this to be about making money, discussions about making money, discussions about side hustles and business. I've always been really passionate about that. I think you know that. And I want to look at people's personal stories because these are not really discussed as much as they could be. And I think these are the juicy elements, the behind the scenes of what's happening with business, with the company, with growth, with accomplishments, is the personal story, the struggles we face, right? The problems we solve along the way, why we do it, our personal motivation. So I understand your personal motivation back then. What do you think, because I already told you, I feel like we achieved a lot. What do you think we have achieved through that time of 4 to 5 years when you were my manager? I was the upcoming rapper in Cyprus, of course. I know what we achieved, but I'm just looking to see if you remember.
Dude, 14 years ago. I can't remember much. My memory is the worst. I do remember we met so many people. We got involved with so many different lives. We built a big friendship with you and Chris and like families as well. It wasn't just the three of us. It was other people that you collaborated with. I think we obviously didn't achieve what we set out to do. We didn't go global. We got featured on quite a few good stations. We done quite a lot of nice gigs, some big gigs. I don't think we achieved like what we set out to do, but we built a good foundation for things like this. It's difficult. It's difficult. Like you say we achieved a lot. I agree, but trying to pinpoint it down to something is...
I get it. Here's what I think we achieved. And I think we sometimes are too humble in the sense that we don't really think of these things as such big achievements. But
yeah.
I was nowhere, meaning like I had nothing. I had no reputation as a hip-hop artist back then. And we managed to kick up my image to such an extent where my single Dreaming was playing on the Russian wave radio at that time, right? For weeks on being Song of the Week. That's one achievement that I remember.
Yeah.
The video clips that we made, namely Hungry, was playing on, I think it was actually on more than one even channel in Cyprus. And they kept playing on those channels for years to come, even after I left. When I returned to Cyprus at some point, I had people telling me, Tony, your video clips are still playing on the TV. And I'm like, are you serious? And, it was fun because people even had the single CD still in their car. They would show me,
I've still got it somewhere.
Yeah, you have it also, right? So these are great things. We also, I think we managed to connect with the artists in Cyprus, with all of the artists in Cyprus at that time. We connected with Lyrical Eye. We tried to do I don't remember the festival in Ayanapa, but we connected with Sniper. At the time, it was Sniper. We connected with Ablaze, quite a lot of different artists at the time. That is a big achievement as well. My vision was very granular, but of course, you can't just live on that vision. You have to live your life, and that's where the problems kicked in. That's where I sort of strayed away from my musical career. But if you remember, the way it all finished was we recorded a video clip for a song that's never been released. It was called Invasion.
I remember.
Yeah, and I still have that video clip. I still have that song. And I think it was one of the biggest sort of like growth projects at the time, at least for me. What do you think we could have done better?
I have no idea.
You think we went to the full extent?
I think with what we had at the time, yeah, I don't think there was much more we could do.
That's true.
There's only so many people you can contact. Without the money side of things, you've either got to be in the right place at the right time and be kick-ass, or have a load of money to pump into it. And we tried the right place, right time. We did get some nice traction, but I think without that money behind, like the sponsorship or whatever, it's difficult. It's difficult getting people to help without a financial kind of, without making money from it. It's difficult to push, to make the CDs that we were making, and potentially sending you to other countries for gigs. It's difficult. Without the money backing, I don't think there's much more we could have done.
That's true. Obviously, to become really such a huge celebrity in the hip-hop world, you probably would need to be in Hollywood, right? Just like for movies, just like for a lot of gigs. But nowadays, we still have artists, like myself back then, in Cyprus even, in other small countries, that are very passionate, very ambitious. That doesn't stop them. The fact that they're not in Hollywood, the fact that they might not have the financial means to make it in the game, and they're still doing it. And what keeps them going, I believe, is this passion for music, passion for creativity from the personal self. Meaning, many artists they put their own heart into their lyrics, into their music, and so on and so forth. And it becomes sort of like, from a hobby, you want it to become a business. You want to start making money from it. You want to stop working your 9-to-5 job and go on doing what you love, right? But I bet that something we could say right now could possibly help upcoming artists today, based on the lessons we learned back then. I, for example, think that going to Hollywood as Tony Jacobs back then would have been super difficult, would require financial investment, and would require connections, right? We had none of that. So in effect, that should not really limit the passion of the upcoming artists, in my opinion. Why? Because if you can't go to Hollywood, you can bring Hollywood to you. Because there are ways to still make it. And probably, if I had to change anything that we've done in the past, I'd say collaborate more with local artists, make songs together, experiment in the agile way, in the sense that don't just record 15 songs, put them on an album and hope things happen. go song by song. Nowadays, anyways, it's better for you to economize your resources and time. Do one song, release it, learn from it, see what can be improved. Do the next song even better. Collaborate with local artists. And of course, try to get attention to your cause, right? Maybe someone will exist there like you existed for me, but someone who can actually invest into you financially. We had those people on our path as well. We had investments into Tony Jacobs as an artist. And that was, of course, because we were out there. We were doing things. Well, you were doing things. I was doing the music and the rap. But that would be probably one piece of advice I could give to any artist today in Cyprus. Not to give up. And if Hollywood is something you're aiming for, bring the Hollywood to you. Start slowly, experiment, and develop yourself. Okay. Back then, when you were the manager, your company name was DCY Management. Does that still exist today?
No. the email address does. Since then, I've moved on a lot. I've kind of grown and tried to build other empires. But it's still around.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're no managing artist anymore.
No.
Would you be willing to?
I don't think so. I think I've moved on a lot since then. Mm-hmm. It's so difficult. It's so difficult doing the right things, trying to find out the right things, researching and learning everything. I mean, you've got to spend a lot of time researching and making these contacts. I don't think I would do it again. It sounds a bit bad, but...
No, it doesn't. You learned a particular lesson over 4 or 5 years. Let me remind you that this was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Naturally, within this 14 years, a lot has probably happened in your life, which is what I want to discuss shortly. However, it's interesting to hear also, what you think we could sort of pass on to the generation of today based on the mistakes we did back then. Do you think there's something that you still can discuss?
I don't think we made any mistakes. I don't think we've done anything wrong. I think we just needed to do more of what we were doing. Mm-hmm. Nowadays with social media, it must be easier. It must be easier to get yourself out there, but it's being consistent. There's so many people that I know even now that want to get more exposure, but they don't want to go down the avenue that gets you more exposure, which is social media. People, whether they don't want to put their face out there as much, or they don't have the time to keep creating content, and not just the songs, but like parts of your everyday life, so people can learn about you and get more involved emotionally into what you're releasing. So being consistent on social media, I think, has to be the way for upcoming artists to get out there more.
Totally. I agree with that. So today, we naturally have different things in our lives, right? We moved on past that. It was just a really good moment.
We've got old, you mean? We've got
old. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
that's the case. But everybody gets old, right? So here we are. We look the same. I wouldn't say we aged too much, especially you. I don't know what kind of secret you have. You stayed the same.
I've looked this since I was 18.
Years.
I'm going to look this age when I'm 80.
Awesome. You can tell me your secret later if you want. I would love to hear. But in any case, so today, after all these years, why are we gathered here discussing this? Well, first of all, I mean, it was a nice moment of nostalgia right now to discuss what we had going on for ourselves back then. But I also remember that, I don't know if you remember, but I was very passionate about business, about making money, about sort of like growth in general, self-growth, and the money perspective. But I also remember before I left Cyprus, we sat down together somewhere around Guaba area in Limassol, and we had a drink, and we came up with an idea, a totally different business idea. We're both Tauruses, by the way, which means
the worst.
2 Tauruses trying to make a business. That's a big, big explosive combination. But we tried to create an idea for an app, which was called the Menu. Remember?
I don't remember.
I'll remind you. This was very interesting. Why am I bringing this up? Because today in Limassol in particular, but of course all over Cyprus, we see Bolt Food, Volt, right? Extremely active, getting a lot of orders. Clearly they're doing well. I haven't seen their stats, obviously, but this idea works, because if it didn't work, we wouldn't see so many delivery boys for Bolt Food and Volt. The menu was something absolutely akin to Bolt and Volt back in the day. And we wanted to bring all the restaurants in Cyprus sort of like under one roof through our app, where they could order online, they could get their delivery sent to them. And it was a really, really like fiery idea back then. I remember we created the logo even, because of course all the
you have to.
smart business people start with the logo, right? But it was exciting, right? And, you know, and as many other ventures, of course, we stopped it there because partially I had to leave Cyprus. And in general, what's interesting to note is that if we had done it back then, if we found the resources, if we really put our minds to it,
stuck to it,
we would have been well in the game. And I'm not sure when Bolt and Volt got on the market, but we would have been there before them.
I don't think, it's only been a couple of years, hasn't it?
There you go. So the last 2 years, right?
Something like that.
Interesting to note that we could have been much richer now if we followed through with that idea. But anyways, what does that prove? That proves that we have probably sensible minds to sort of explore ideas like this. And I don't think that it ends for us here, right? On this episode in particular, I wanted to touch up, of course, about what we done in the past, but I also want to discuss about what you do today. How much information can you give? Sort of like, I know you tried many side hustles, let's call them that. And today you have one successful one. Well, when I mean successful is it pays off the costs. And you're probably making some profit margin over there, which for me is really heroic in a way, because a lot of people, you know, they talk about starting something and it's getting out the door, pushing yourself to do it. That is always the difficult part. You did it multiple times. You probably failed multiple times as well,
for sure,
as you told me. However, what is this side hustle that you have today all about?
Which one?
Well, you tell me if you have more than one.
So, I've got one of my sons, to be honest, two of my sons play football. One of them stuck with it. He's 17 and a half now. He's playing like U19 level in Cyprus. As you know, I'm always looking for side hustles, and I wanted to do something that I like, that I enjoy, that I could be involved with, and put some passion into it for once, instead of just trying to make money. I wanted something that I'd enjoy. I'm looking for problems in Cyprus to try and fix them. My main problem that I found in football was football boots. You don't have shops here that you can go and see a ton of football boots in the size that you want. You'll see something nice, you ask for the size, they don't have it. They've sold out. They'll bring a couple of each stock, and then it's just a pain. Everyone has the same problem. So I thought, I'll start bringing football boots to Cyprus. I'll make a shop solely for football boots, and we'll go from there. Spoke to a few suppliers, and I found out that because it's quite a big niche, you need quite a lot of stock. So you need quite a lot of like money to buy all this stock. They wouldn't just give it to anybody. They wanted you to have a proven record of sales, making something of yourself, selling stuff, so you know what you're doing in that industry. I didn't have that at the time, so I was thinking, right, I need to prove myself. I need to try and get something still within football that I could use to then speak to these companies to try and bring a football boot shop to Cyprus. We found grip socks. Grip socks is basically socks that you wear. It's got grips on the bottom. You put it in your football boots. You wear them. You've got the feeling that like your foot doesn't slip in the boot as much with grip socks as it does with normal socks. It feels better. It looks nicer. It's hard to explain. Wearing a full football sock and wearing a grip sock with half a football sock just feels better. It's not as uncomfortable. You kind of, your whole persona just feels better. So we decided to look into this. We started buying a few samples from different companies, found a good supplier, started buying in bulk because it's much cheaper than buying a sock than it was a football boot. So we could afford to start kind of putting money into this. Not lots, but slowly. And we decided we'll start slow, we'll start building as we go. We started slow. We started a website. We done advertisements on Facebook. We done competitions. And it's been going all right. It's still slow, but it's built up where we've got quite a nice name now. We've got quite a lot of good reviews. We don't have any bad reviews. We've had the odd few pair of sock that might have a bit of an issue with it. We replace it straight away. So all in all, locally, we've built quite a nice little brand with these socks. And as we're kind of building, we're slowly adding more colors, more socks, more styles, other products, starting small, and hopefully we start seeing it grow a bit.
What's the name of the...
SD Socks. The name of the company that sells the socks is SD Socks, but it's just a brand name. The company name is S&D Casey Bros Limited. It's slow, but it's moving in the right direction.
So I guess I can call you the Sock King.
The Sock King.
Well, that's very interesting. I mean, very few people would say, hey, you know what, let me try to sell socks.
Yeah, I'll sell socks.
But it's cool. It's really cool. It makes money, right?
It does.
Exactly.
It's all right.
So as far as I understood, find the problem within the market.
And fix it.
Address the problem, correct? And
Easier said than done, but yeah, I think that's how all businesses, like successful businesses, are made.
Of course. Finding the problem and addressing it. It's very interesting that you actually took this sort of as an area of passion, right? You didn't immediately start thinking, hey, how can I make money? You started thinking something relevant to myself.
No,
something.
Initially, it was how can I make money? So I tried everything.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
But this one is...
What did you try? Can you explain?
Yeah, but can I go for a pee first?
Sure. Let's go for a break.
I'm bursted.
So, back into it. What were some of the things that you tried and failed in and just had to stop?
I can't remember all of them. After you left, I stayed in the music side of things. I started working with a couple of artists, one of them Rushil, you know well.
Of course.
Kept trying that. I think we started, we did. We started a record label, Apple Jam Records.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah, that was interesting. That didn't go as planned, but it was a good experience at the time. And then I started looking at things to make money with. So I was looking at trying to bring products to Cyprus. Again, looking at the problems here. Like one of them was window socks, and that was like a sock that you put over your back windows to protect your kids from the sun and whatever. That didn't go as planned. It was quite a good idea. I think it was an Australian company that I used to get them from. That didn't go as planned, so I stopped. And then like a year later, you're seeing cars driving around everywhere with these window socks. And I'm like, oh, come on. What else have I tried? I've tried a lot of stuff online, like social media marketing. One of them, which I'm still doing at the minute, which is why I asked, like, which side hustle, but it was my messenger automations. Mm-hmm. So I started working with a couple of restaurants where I'd create like an automation system that we done Facebook ads for people who have birthdays in the next, I think it's in the next week. We send them like a promotion to get a free meal or a discount on the meal or whatever for the birthday if they come into the restaurant. One of the restaurants I made, I think I made them about 60,000 euros in 9 months extra, like on top of, sorry, on top of what like they're already making. And we could track it. We tracked who was sent the coupons, when they redeemed, how much they redeemed for. So it was all trackable. We could see all the results. So one of them was about 60 grand in 9 months. One of them was about 60,000 in about 12 months. That was all going amazingly well. And that was like one I thought, I'm taking this globally. Then COVID hit. COVID just put a stop to everything. Obviously, no one was going to restaurants because Cyprus was on lockdown for, I think, 3 months or something. So no one was going to restaurants. Nothing was happening. So kind of everyone was just just stalled. Once everyone started coming back out, restaurants, it took them a while to get back to going again because people didn't want to go out. They had to get rid of all their staff, so trying to find new staff, and it was just a pain. So that was kind of on pause for a bit, which I've started back up again recently, using a lot more of AI, like Gemini, ChatGPT, all this kind of stuff, which makes building much better. You're getting so much more for your money. Like what I used to charge these restaurants back then, I could do the same now, but they just get so much more using like proper AI automations. It's insane. The things it can do it blows my mind every day when I sit on a computer and I build another automation system or look into it or find some other like fancy little trick. Blows my mind every time. It's just
a couple questions here. Curious. So this business, you were able to pick it back up because it wasn't something that was that seriously affected by COVID, in the sense that you didn't lose money during the time of COVID, right? You just put everything on pause.
Yeah, personally, I didn't lose money on it because I'm building it from my home, and it's software that I pay for, like a monthly fee kind of thing. It's just learning it all, and there's a lot to learn. So yeah, I don't have a shop. I don't have an office. I'm just working from home, sitting on a laptop. So I didn't lose money from COVID. It was just a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm. And what is this business called?
It's not really called anything at the minute.
It's a side hustle without a name.
I've made a name, which it used to be DCY marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID hit and I kind of stopped that. It's still around. I've still got access to it all. But I decided with this AI system, I needed something, a new name, a new logo, a new brand. So I've gone for Unplain Media, using the AI in Unplain as my little...
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm just restarting that now, kind of rebranding, rebuilding. It's all right. It's slower than I want it to be because there's so much more to learn. Mm-hmm. But I'm getting there. I'm making demos. I'm sending some demos out to companies, and I'm definitely going to speak to my restaurant contacts again and push that.
That's a big profit boost, I think, for a restaurant business. I mean, I can't, of course, pinpoint the exact percentage amount, but 60 grand, that's not bad in 9 months.
It's insane. It really is good. Like it wasn't just it wasn't just the money that they made. They brought in customers that had never heard of them before. It's like a good introduction to a person to go somewhere for a free meal or a discount on your birthday. Take your family. So it's good to bring new people in. It was good financially for them, and it also built up their database of contacts, like insanely. Restaurants don't really build a database of customers, email addresses, phone numbers.
At least in Cyprus.
At least in Cyprus, and it's difficult to do. It's difficult without knowing kind of how to do it or how to do it legally. So, like one of the restaurants, I think they've got an email database of about 9,000 customers, all of them in Limassol locally, which is unheard of. So anytime they have a promotion, they can send out this email to their full database, which is a big thing nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
The competition for people getting in front of people's faces is so high. So if you've got a database of 9,000 emails and phone numbers, it's got to be a lot easier. Plus, you own that database. Like having Facebook likes, you don't own that database. Facebook own that database. They've got access to all them people. So you bringing them off of Facebook and off of Instagram, getting your own database it's like gold at the minute.
Absolutely. So this is the second side hustle. Do you have a third?
It's the second one I'm doing. So my third one I've got going at the minute, I'm sounding like a nutcase, is trading, day trading, swing trading, like trading stocks and this kind of stuff. It's like foreign exchange and whatever. It's something that I've always been interested in, and it's something that I know a lot of people make a lot of money on. So I thought, why not? I'll start learning. I'll watch a couple of YouTube videos, join a few little groups and whatever. And so I've been doing that for a little while, not too long. It's hard because there's so much to learn, and a lot of it is down to your personal, I can't think of the word, but putting a trade on, a lot of people put a trade on and then they're sitting there and they're waiting and they're waiting for like the market to go up or down, and like they're sitting on edge all the time. So kind of controlling that yourself is pretty difficult. I did join this lady's, she's still got a company called Forex for Women, where she teaches you how she trades, and it takes out all the stress of it. It's on a 4-hour time frame. She teaches you where to put your trade, where to put your stop loss, and how to keep building on it. So as the market goes in your direction, it's how to kind of secure yourself, taking your stop loss up, and also maximizing on your profits that you're getting already. One big thing she does do, or doesn't do, is she doesn't take profit. She'll only take profit when the market stops. So as she's taking a stop loss up, at some point the market will go the other way. That's when it takes profit automatically. So she's not sitting there waiting and thinking, should I take profit now? Should I take profit now? She's done a system which is a really good system. It's a slow system, but it takes out all the stress and the guesswork. Most of the people in her system are checking 2 or 3 times a day, moving stop losses up, and building up a portfolio that way.
So you still check 2 or 3 times.
You still check, but you're double checking it's going in the same direction and whether you can move your stop loss up. There's 2 indicators that she uses, which kind of help you not predict because you can't predict the markets, but it just kind of helps you follow it and secure yourself. And so you're not sitting there looking at the screen 24/7.
So as far as I understand, that works.
It works. With me personally, it's working slowly and small because I've started with a small deposits. You start putting bigger deposits in there. Like some of the people that work on her systems, making a lot of money doing it, following her system. And the Forex for Women, it was only for women until a lot of guys started saying, well, what about us? So she's opened up a Forex for men now, which is a small fee every month, just to get access to all the videos. She does, I think, 2 or 3 videos a week, live calls. It's really good. It's just
She's Cyprus based?
no, States, America, somewhere. It's all right. So that's my other side hustle, but that's more of like a full-on side hustle where I just, when I get chance or time, I'll do a bit more research.
You're very modest. That's sounds like you have 3 successful, well, in a
No.
way, successful side hustles. What I mean by successful is they don't shed money, right? They do make you some kind of money.
Yeah, I guess to a point. I've still got to put a little bit here and there, but
That's natural.
no, it's
A 4th one?
no.
3 is enough.
Yeah, I think my wife would have to say something. If,
I understand, of course. So we've discussed 3 successful steps you've taken in the last years. What about unsuccessful side hustles? Something you've tried, it didn't work.
I think a lot of the stuff I don't try because of financial issues. Like, I'll think of an idea, I'll think it's an amazing idea, and then I'll look into it and I'm like, nah, can't afford that. It's going to be insane. Like, a couple of times, quite a few of the side hustles, I'll speak to my wife, and most of the time she'll tell me how bad of an idea it is, or that it's not going to work.
Is that most of the time?
Most of the time.
Okay.
So she's become quite a good judge of all these little side hustles. The ones that she says she likes it or she thinks it might work, that's when I'll put a bit more effort into it to find out if it's, to do a bit more research, to basically push it more. If she doesn't like the idea, then I probably won't go with it. But if she likes it, I'm going to look into it a bit more.
Sounds like you have a really great partnership.
It's interesting.
What's the secret?
It works. I don't know. I think she wants one of them to work as much as I do, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's having the financial ability to just do what you want when you want, to be able to afford to go on a holiday or buy a new car or even fixing a bloody car. It's being able to do what needs to be done, and not struggling every month. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I think that's why.
All that you're balancing with a job.
Yes.
Now that is absolutely mind blowing. Do you work sort of like a set standard day? 9 to
Yeah,
6 or
it's
something?
5 days a week, 7 till 3, which is good because I'm starting earlier. But from 3 o'clock onwards, I've got most of the day left. It's all right.
That's good. Yeah, that helps, right? So, what do you do if you don't mind revealing it? You can keep it a secret. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll keep that one quiet.
All right, that's fine. That's absolutely not needed.
It's a good job. I work outdoors with my hands a lot. It's
Physical.
Yeah. I'm not sitting behind a desk all day, so I'm
Lucky.
keeping active and getting my vitamin D and whatever.
That's great.
It's all right.
Awesome. So, when would be a point for you that you'd say, you know what, I don't need a daytime job anymore. I'm just going to focus on my side hustles, or on one business that is making it that is going really incredibly well.
I think when one of them is making more than what I'm making in my day job, so then I can afford to let that go. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to be doing both of this kind of together. But what I'd like to do is one of the businesses get to the point where I can hire somebody to build on it, to keep it going, to help it grow. Because I'm the worst at sales. Like, I can't sell anything to anybody. So I think eventually I'd like to have that person that could kind of sell what I'm doing. I could easily sit there and just keep building and keep selling, not keep selling, keep ordering and fixing my websites and the social media side of things. But having somebody to sell what I'm doing, I think that's what...
Sounds like that missing link, to be honest. I've always thought, because we discussed this before, that you don't have a team, and maybe that is what's setting you back. I think
Probably, yeah.
getting sort of like connected with people, sharing that vision together. I'm sure there are people who are just as much interested as you in some of these ideas and some of these hustles that you're doing. And I think once you find a person, independent of which hustle we're talking about, but once you find a person that can share that vision and can sort of partner with you, dedicate their energy and time, and be good in a different area, let's say sales in this case, I think your business will just take off. Seeing and analyzing it from my personal perspective as I see it now. But that's just something I wanted to tell you anyways, because I've noticed it.
I hope you're right. I think you're right. I do hope, but it's getting to I think I'm just waiting for that kind of line to be able to do that, to kind of scale on it, if you know what I mean.
So how do you find a person like that?
I have no idea. No idea.
Do you network?
No.
Maybe that's the key.
It probably is the key. But I don't think I want... I'd rather hire than partner, if you know what I mean.
You'd rather direct them rather than accept their ideas and visions.
Yeah. No, I'm an open book. Like, even if I hired somebody and they had an idea and I thought it was good, or I'd even kind of give it a shot. But I think the partner side of things it's difficult. I'd rather... I've got my own visions. I'd rather just follow them and hire people to help me see them visions out.
Makes sense. So you've been in Cyprus for 20 years, but you're originally from England.
Yes.
Right? And how come you ended up in Cyprus?
I originally was in the British military. Got posted out here and fell in love with the country. Decided to stay here. So left the military, started working, started a family, started meeting loads of different people, just kind of building a nice home here. It's too nice to not stay. Like, not only the weather, but most of the people, most of the lifestyle is just so nice. It's not like it doesn't feel like a rat race here. Do you know what I mean? It's
absolutely. I mean, for those people that have any idea about Cyprus and its motto, siga siga, slowly, they probably understand what you're talking about. But yeah, Cyprus is such a jewel that few people understand, in my opinion, because, and it's good that they don't, because we don't have that many people here. Well, nowadays we have many more people than before.
It's growing, like.
It's growing, and of course that comes with a lot of disadvantages. But being able to see Cyprus change in the way it has changed over the last years is very scary from one perspective, but also awesome from another. It is a little paradise, in my opinion, in the Mediterranean. I've grown up here, basically, spent also nearly 20 years. Cyprus is such a magical place when you understand what this island is all about. It's one of the few places, I've been traveling a lot in the last decade, and it's one of the few places that truly preserves this tradition in my eyes. It's, you can still find the local tavern where they still have the local dance, and they put the little glasses on the head, and they bring the plates and everything. You still have the Cyprus meze and all this delicious food, not healthy, delicious though, that we have here on the island of Cyprus. So it is a majestic place. The beaches, the best beaches I've personally been to, and I've been to quite a few different countries. It's truly a paradise, and it keeps pulling you back. I know this from the first perspective, because I lived here until 2014, And then I chose to return here. And partially the reason is, of course, simple. I grew up here. I knew how safe or unsafe it is to live here. And it's rather safe in comparison to other countries.
Yeah.
And now I have 2 kids as well. So, of course, this was a big major priority. I imagined them growing up in a place close to the sea with nice weather. And here they are. They love the beach. They love going to the sea. So Cyprus is the perfect place, especially for families. And I can see how you ended up here, of course. Do you consider at any point returning to England, or is that not an option?
No. No, I think if I'd only go if there was a reason, like one of my kids needed something, or I think mainly I wouldn't go just because. I'd have to go. There'd have to be a big reason to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to visit. I like going back to visit, but it's just so fast. Everything's just so crazy. I love going back for shopping, like Primark and Asda and all these little nice cheaper shops. Going back to see family and stuff for a week or 2, but that's about it. I don't think I'd move back.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there was a big opportunity to, then I would. But
Financial opportunity.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cyprus, like you said, is safe. Even myself, I walk down the street here at night, doesn't bother me. I walk down the street in the UK at night, I'm always looking over my shoulder. And I'm a grown adult. Imagine kids and women. It's like,
Totally.
nah, not for me.
Take a lot of evening walks?
Always.
All right, good to know. So, awesome. We discussed Cyprus. We discussed your side hustles, and I'm still fascinated by the way you're able to balance everything out. Even, okay, you have that time after 3, but it's 3 different side hustles. So how do you...
Well, 3 different side hustles, 3 kids, a wife. It's like...
Do you sleep?
I go to bed quite early as well. I do, but if I'm not in bed by 9:30, 10, I'm
Your
dead.
day's ruined.
Yeah, that's it.
Understandable.
I've got to.
So discipline is important.
I think so. Discipline and having the support around you as well. Like if I need to go for a meeting or whatever, I can. Do you know what I mean? Now, like my kids are grown. They're grown now. I've got the youngest is 11 in a few days, and then I've got 16 and a half, 17 and a half. So they're independent. Yeah, independent. They can look after themselves. We don't have to, like, when there's small little wee things, it's more difficult. But now they're older, I can do stuff. If I need to go to a meeting and the wife's doing something else, the kids, we can happily let them get on with what they're doing, and I can go. So it's having that kind of support around that allows me to do it.
You're telling me there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
There is.
My kids are 3 and 4 right now.
Yeah.
When does it become better?
I couldn't tell you when, but it does. It becomes easier. Mm-hmm. They're less dependent on you then. Once they grow up a bit, they've got their own things. They can look after themselves a bit more. You get a bit more freedom. Mm-hmm. It's nice.
Sounds fantastic. I mean, I'm not saying, of course, that I hate taking care of my kids. I love it.
No, it's different. It's different stages.
Totally. Okay. Anything we should expect from you in the next days? Are you satisfied with the 3 things that you're doing, or?
Yeah, I'm not doing any more for a while.
All right.
I'll see.
But these are areas that you are interested in, right? You're enthusiastic about them.
Yeah, I think that's what you've got to have the drive for it. You can't just do something to make money. You've got to do something that you enjoy, mm-hmm. and that you would stick to. A lot of it is sticking to a business, like even your music career or anyone's music career. You've got to stick with it, and you've got to be persistent and keep doing it, and just keep at it. And I think things will work out for anybody. In whatever they're doing, keep at it, keep persistent.
Totally. That's what saved me back in the day. Because looking back in the day, I can remember a million moments perhaps where I could have said, you know what am I doing? F this, let's move on. Like, this is not exactly bringing me anything. And it wasn't. It's not like, I still had my job. I had 2 jobs. I was working night shifts. I was rapping. I was doing other things, right? Which I'm not going to say on this podcast. But it was surprising, even until today. I'm trying to ask myself, how did I persist so many years, so many songs, so many tracks? And it all started, maybe it's interesting for people to hear. It all started literally as many other rappers start in a basement. I had this tall, sort of like a lamp, where we tied a really crappy little headset with a microphone. The only reason why we tied it is because it had a microphone.
Yeah.
FL Studio, all the way, creating some absolutely not high quality beats at the time, and literally just rapping on top. And it sounded really silly. It did. I didn't see it going anywhere, but I enjoyed it so much. It was really something that, you could wake me in the middle of the night and I would do it. I would write lyrics, I would create beats, and I felt out of place, of course, because, white, Russian, Cyprus. What am I doing? What the hell is happening, right? But it helped me survive a lot of sort of like disastrous moments in my life. That's partially why I was doing it. And then one beautiful moment, from one person to the next, I ended up in Chris's studio, Soundscape Studios, of course. And I brought that crappy little CD that was recorded with a microphone that sounded absolutely terrible. And I remember I came in there, I called 10 Stop, with my friend at the time, and I brought the CD. We put it into to play it, and I was looking at Chris to see his reaction. And I was, of course, feeling a little bit ashamed because I thought it's not that good. So we're in the studio, and Chris plays Shorty Be Mine, I think. And I thought it was a ridiculous attempt at an R&B song. And it turned out to be, I think, one of his favorites, let's say, Dreaming and Shorty Be Mine. And there we were. We had a plan. Chris saw potential, and we created the single, Dreaming. And that was really exciting. That opened some doors for me in my confidence as well. It showed me that, hey, we can actually make this work. The reason why I also stopped it, rap in general, just to get it out there, I guess, is because I wanted so much more than what I had. There's a lot of things happening in life, but I also envisioned hip-hop as a world, not as everyone else envisions it. For me, it was, I didn't want to go on the stage and perform some songs that were cool and funky and catchy, and that's it, and just sell albums. At the time, I remember I read a book about record labels and how they literally stripped the artist down, and I knew what I was stepping into. I knew what to watch out for. But my vision, this was more than just a business for me, more than making money. This was initially a big hobby and a big drive in my life. So for me, it was important to record songs that I could release my energy to. I was an artist who would love to jump on a stage, if you remember, like I would picture myself breaking something.
Bouncing around.
Really energetic music with a lot of passion that drives people, the whole crowd moves. MGK has songs like this, and The Antwoord has amazing songs. I've been to a concert where The Antwoord was like literally going mad. He jumps on in the crowd as well many times. This is the kind of music I envisioned it to be. And in Cyprus, of course, this was difficult to accomplish. So that's where it paused. But if I had to look back in a day, I'd say there were a lot of things that could have helped. For example, guidance. Rick Rubin gave an interview, or well, not an interview exactly, but they had the podcast with Joe Rogan recently, And he just was sort of like discussing how to choose an artist, how to adapt an artist to show their best on stage, let's say. Yeah? And it literally is all coming from that artist. You got to make the artist comfortable. If they're doing something bad, meaning like, don't do this again, tell that to them, right? Because I think what we did wrong as well, and we continue to do, was the double voice and the angry tone. It was not necessary. It could just be a single voice. It doesn't have to be deep. It doesn't have to be aggressive, but that would have worked a bit better. And that's what happened on the song that we didn't release. Maybe we should release it now that we're talking about it. That would be fun. But we did the single voice there, and it worked much better. I felt more like myself. I felt like that's why the transformation was happening.
Yeah.
And I think every artist nowadays should seek that guidance from someone who really can sit back and be honest with them and discuss what is the major goal, the future vision for where they want to be, and sort of like bring it closer to them. Everybody should really be honest with themselves. Otherwise, they're going to continue recording little beats in the basement. And that's not what you want to do. You want to really become a successful artist. Well, then you got to stop lying to yourself. I think that's the number one rule. All right. That was Chris Cara, wasn't it? In the Skin. Okay, so I know that our battery is running low because, of course, our organization is amazing. But whatever the case, for episode number 1, this was a really great discussion. I felt like we really naturally discussed this.
It's been nice.
I wanted to maybe finish this off with asking you. We talked about the problems that people face and a business resolving those problems. A successful business resolves the problem of the customer, right? So what kind of problems do you think Cyprus continues to have where people could perhaps look into creating businesses around?
I can't tell you that. They're my side hustles.
Oh, you still have a list?
Yeah, you never know.
I have a list of 52 business ideas that I've been literally writing down for all my life. Some of them require millions of dollars.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to pinpoint something, but there must be somebody out there that has a problem, knows of a problem, and could potentially fix it or speak to someone, get some guidance to see how this problem could be fixed.
A lot of people, they want to start the business right now, and they want to start making money now. They don't understand that this is a really long, lengthy process, and it's not all, flowers and rainbows.
Yeah.
But what's your advice to a person who has this vision, who has an idea what problem they're going to be solving? They clearly don't have money. So how to start?
I think you've got your textbook side of things. I mean, I'm no guru in this because none of my stuff is booming. So maybe I'm the wrong person to give advice at the minute.
It's not about booming, though. You have successful experiences, and that's what matters.
Yeah, so experience-wise, a textbook is your business plans, kind of get a solid business plan, your direction where you want to go, and potentially you've got business partners you can speak to. There's like foundations. I think Cyprus have some foundations for startups where you can go pitch your ideas and potentially get picked up by an investor, or you could go investors yourself. If you've got that much of a good idea and a solid business plan, you're not losing anything by going to an investor and speaking to them.
A lot of people are scared about the term business plan, though. They think it's a really complicated document.
Yeah.
Can you make it simpler for them?
It is difficult because it's got to be a good business plan. Sorry?
What's inside?
Well, you've got the ideas, what you want to do, kind of your vision, where it's going to go in the next couple of years and long term. But mainly, it's hard. It's hard to describe fully.
I can add some to this because, of course, I've made
do.
quite a few business plans, and in my recent years, successfully pitched like 2 or 3.
I mean,
ideas that were actually
I don't do
invested in.
business plans because
I love doing business plans. That's the problem, though. A lot of the time, I get stuck on the business plan.
Yeah,
and the lack of time is always a really big problem. So then I kind of like, I did the business plan and it's nearly done, and I don't continue with an idea, and that's what really bothers me. I need to improve on that area, but it doesn't have to be so complex. When you hear business plan, just write out all your thoughts. Start thinking what questions there are to this business, right? What questions need answering? So how many customers you have? What problems do these customers face? Are you sure that these problems are actually viable? Maybe people don't actually have this problem and this is your imagination, right?
Yeah.
All the questions that you have in your head, write them down in the business plan. And as you sort of like build on that business plan, you answer those questions, in effect. It's really good to have financial projections. It's really good to have numbers. And it's really good to make your decisions based on numbers and not just on subjective opinions, of course. And don't invest too much money into something until you know you have some gold on your hands.
For sure.
Invest a little bit here and there, do some research, talk to people, interview your target market, be as a customer within your target market, and understand exactly what people require before you start jumping into, doing branding or designing websites, hiring people.
Which is what I do. I just skip all that bit, straight in, failed. Failed. It's like...
The other problem is, this is a very interesting one, because sometimes I have this discussion with my wife too, is some people seek a unique idea, seek to solve a unique problem. And they manage to find a bunch of ideas where they can start a business solving a unique problem where there's no competition in the market yet, or the competition is very weak, or like there's 1 or 2 people doing this, trying this out. Yeah. It feels to me like you're doing something similar. You're trying to find something more unique rather than something that people are already doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But there's also, the aspect of a person stopping themselves in their tracks because they think, oh, I shouldn't do this because another person will do it faster than me, or there's already competition on the market. But this is, I don't know if you will agree with me, this is not a reason to stop. Because from a very simple perspective, if you open a kiosk, you can't expect it to be a unique idea.
No.
There are kiosks in the city. If you open a coffee shop, there are coffee shops in the city.
Pharmacies, coffee shops.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're, in a way, all of them competing. Well, this is a totally different business idea. Usually we're like talking about online businesses. These are physical businesses. Of course, we don't want to talk about them too long. But what I'm trying to say is it's a big stopping factor that someone else is doing something similar. I will do it in a less of a quality way, and that's why I should not do it.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
I think you're right. I think it shouldn't stop you. There's so many different businesses out there doing similar things, some better than others. I mean, if you find a business out there that solves a problem that you're passionate about and you can make it better, why not? Mm-hmm. Why not give it a shot?
So in this particular case, to not lose your passion and drive, to sort of like kill it completely, I guess looking into how you can do it better, right? Perhaps you can offer superb customer service. Maybe you can offer your services at a better price. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can offer your services with better benefits. You can always analyze your competition, right?
Yeah.
Find the weak spots and try to fit in. You can exist simultaneously with your competition. That is what people don't understand.
Yeah.
It is, of course, there are lessons that they have learned already that you should probably learn before you do anything, right? Why reinvent the wheel? So that's a good point. Darren, thank you very much for agreeing to be my number one guest on this episode of The Tony Jacobs Show. I hope this continues, honestly. I think these conversations are really interesting, and due to the natural nature of it, it's also, it's more captivating than something scripted or acting or anything like that, right? Because we're actually talking like we would be sitting in a coffee shop and talking. Like that time 3 months ago where I came to you with a business idea and we decided not to do it again.
Yeah. And
we keep doing this one.
One of them, we'll stick with one.
We'll stick with one. I have another one. It recently popped up. So let's see where it goes. I'm doing
Let's go for
my
coffee.
analysis right now. Let's see where that goes. But in any case, I really want to keep in touch with you. I really am fascinated and motivated by what you do. I think you shouldn't be modest about it. Accept my compliments.
Thank you.
You're doing great.
Accepted.
And what really makes you stand out, because I knew a lot of people back in the day in Cyprus, obviously. And when I left, a lot of the people stopped communicating with me. Well, I'm not that of an angel, disappeared.
I think we're all.
But what's amazing about this relationship, I guess it's the double Taurus kind of thing.
Maybe.
But what's amazing is that me and you, we can not talk for 3-4 months, and then we'll talk like we never even missed each other, right? Mm-hmm. And that's truly unique, because people usually get these emotions like, oh my God, he disappeared, I'm angry. No, me and you were like, we're absolutely cool. We know that we have our lives, we have our side hustles, but we still can make some time to discuss these interesting things we keep discussing. So thank you very much, Darren. I hope we managed to get this in properly. I'm sure that we learned a lot from this podcast, like a lot of the cameras switching off on us all the time and batteries that weren't charged. But nevertheless, this was a good experience. I hope you enjoyed it as well.
I did. Thank you for your invite.
Thank you.
It's been very nice.